Welcome to the first video and learning plan for the NWTC Employee Handbook and Standard Operating Procedures. Inside this video, we're going to take a look at identifying the handbook that you need to understand and have knowledge of, as well as where to find some of those resources. We're also going to talk about some of the standard operating procedures for part-time faculty. The biggest thing that you want to make sure you know is the department and area you are working for, be it general studies, health science, trades and engineering, business and information. Maybe it's one of the community regional centers, or it could be public safety, but you want to know your department and you want to know who your direct supervisor is, because a lot of our questions are going to be directed towards them in terms of standard operating procedures and allowing them to share with you the practices. So we're going to start by taking a look at our NWTC Employee Handbook. I'm going to hop over to the internet, our NWTC Hub, and direct you on how to get to our handbook by clicking on the HR tab. Once I've clicked on HR, the very first one over here is called the Employee Handbook. If you click on this link, it will open up a PDF version of the NWTC Employee Handbook, and you'll notice that there's a lot of different information in here. I believe there's 80 pages in total. So we're not going to go over everything, as this would take quite a long time, but I just want to make you aware of that the employee handbook is here. You want to review some of that information and make sure that you understand what it is that you must follow in terms of policy and procedures. A few things I would like to highlight, though, are that the use of NWTC email is strictly prohibited to professional and business use. We do not want to be sending personal emails through our email account. We do not want to be sending religious or political views and things of that nature through our NWTC email accounts. The use of NWTC property is strictly for NWTC classes and business practices. For example, if you are working on home on building or constructing something and you need a couple of table saws, we cannot just go down to the machine tool area or the construction area and borrow some tools. Those are meant for students here at the college, and we need to respect the property. Likewise, printing and copying personal items is also strictly prohibited, that we want to make sure that we're using the property and taxpayer dollars in the manner that it was designed for it to be used student facing. We also have a few areas that require mandatory drug testing. This isn't something that I would be too alarmed about, because you would have already had that mandatory drug test if you're in one of those areas. But our NWTC handbook does lay out a few designated areas specific to operation of heavy equipment and machinery that requires some mandatory drug testing. And finally, perhaps the trickier one, is we do have an intellectual property clause. What this illustrates is that employees working at NWTC using NWTC resources to create new programs, new products, things of that nature on NWTC and taxpayer dollars don't really own those newfound or those new created items. It really becomes a property of the college because you're using college dollars and college resources to create them. If you do have questions about any of that, again, I would make sure that you read the handbook and contact your supervisor. Some of the standard operating procedures for part-time faculty, some standard ways of business that we like to make sure we make everyone aware of. Most areas do have a part-time workroom where you have resource to a copy machine, you might have resource to some pens, you might have some other small resources, but each area should have a specific designated spot for part-time to kind of work and have access to computers or workstations. Security, we want to make sure that all of our rooms stay locked so that our resources and our materials that the college owns are here and don't get stolen. So please make sure when you're using rooms that you lock them. If for some reason your room is not unlocked when you need it to be in use for students, make sure that you call security 498-5699 and ask them to open up the room, and they will gladly come and do it. Security will also walk you to your cars at night if you feel unsafe. Illness. If you are feeling ill and you cannot make a class and facilitate or teach a class at night, you need to contact your direct learning supervisor. You need to let them know of the situation, and they will try as best as they can to find a sub or make an appropriate decision as to whether to cancel class or not. Keys. Some areas require keys of their part-time faculty, and some areas do not. Again, this goes back to the security of the resources and material that we have here on campus, and making sure that everything is locked and stored. So if you need keys, that's something to discuss again with your supervisor, and they will inform you of what keys and if you should have them. All faculty, part-time, full-time, do have voicemail. It is connected through your email now. To obtain your phone number, contact your office supervisor or your learning supervisor and find out what that voicemail and phone number is so that you can share that information with your students and they have a way to contact you. We do have training on some of those voicemails. School closing, very rarely ever do we cancel school here on the campus. Dr. Raffin, our president, is a strong believer that if the Green Bay Metro busing is in operation, that school will be open. He wants to make sure that students have an option to go somewhere if for some reason the weather is bad and the busing systems are still working. And FERPA. Very similar to the HIPAA laws of healthcare, FERPA protects students' rights at college because we are primarily working with adults and returning adults. Their rights and their privacy is protected by FERPA, which means you cannot share their grades, you cannot share their progress, you cannot share their updates with family members that maybe call and say, I'm paying for Johnny's school, so I should know what his grades are. That is not the case. We cannot allow that to happen. FERPA. In Starfish training, you will learn quite a bit more about the FERPA laws. When you do get your first course assignment, you are going to get a faculty course agreement through your email account. This agreement or assignment is between you and the college saying, this is the course that we are offering you. Do you want to accept this course or do you not want to accept this course? There is an excellent document, again, back out on the hub, under HR, underneath benefits and compensation. If I click on payroll, there is an excellent document called the FCA Quick Guide Updated. This guide, very bottom piece, talks to you about what you will receive. An email to your account saying agreement information. The body of the email will have a link. When you click on the link, it'll take you to where you can to our campus solution side where you log in and then you can either accept or decline the agreement. So once again, it is this FCA quick guide underneath benefits and compensation payroll. Give it a look, see if you have any questions about how to accept your faculty course agreements. There's also a payroll video out there that illustrates perhaps the paperwork and the signatures that you might need to have to activate your payroll. Excellent questions again for your supervisors to make sure that you are in contact and in touch with them. The final piece of this video, let's just talk about your syllabus because NWTC does have some strict policies around our syllabus. We do have a template that we encourage or ask you to follow and make sure that you follow that template. It's found out here on the hub, so let me just transfer back there one more time. Under Learning, if I just click on Learning, and then General tab Learning takes me to their page. Underneath Documents, All Staff. This is available for all staff. I'm going to scroll way down here. It is called the NWTC Syllabus Revision Final Spring. It is a Word document, and so by clicking on it, it's going to ask me if do I want to read it and be able to edit. So if I click Edit, it will allow me to make changes to it so that I can make the syllabus my own. It'll be a general template with some of our primary information that we need to have within your syllabus. Now what I'm going to do is hop back just to highlight some other key areas and show you what we really are talking about. You want to make sure that your course competencies and employability skills are listed. These are the mandatory requirements that you're going to be teaching to students so that they know what to expect of the course. You want to make sure that your syllabus is complete. You have a contact information, an email, you have the course dates, the times that you're meeting. Perhaps you're going to establish some office hours, but you want to have it complete. You want to have a course calendar available. When are we going to be doing Unit 1? When will we be doing Unit 2? When might a test occur? Things like that. You want to have your grading policy listed in there. What's your grading scale? A policy on late work? Do you accept absent work and an absent policy? Clearly establish a technology and cell phone policy. Speak to some of your full-time counterparts in your area and ask them what their policies are and see what they might use. And then we will want to make sure that we publish that syllabus into Blackboard course shell. There's a separate Blackboard training that illustrates how to publish your syllabus in Blackboard. And the biggest piece of advice that I can offer in terms of your syllabus is to ask somebody else to see what their syllabus looked like. A lot of our full-time and even other part-time faculty are willing to collaborate and share their syllabi so that we're all teaching and providing a same constant message to students. So don't be afraid to reach out to your learning supervisor or a full-time lead instructor on a course and ask them for help and see if they have a syllabus that you can use. When you're ready to print your syllabus, there's a couple of different options that we need to make you aware of. First, you do have access to an office printer typically somewhere where we're allowed to print small amounts of copies. We have a new system that's going to be going into a place where you're going to be required to log into a printer and then select how many copies you want made based on what you've sent to that printer. Maybe a limit of 10 at a time. So be aware of what that limit is for you to print on the small office printers. We do have a printing service department here on campus. There is a form underneath on the links page that is for creative printing services and marketing services. So use that form on the page and fill out the printing services, marketing services request. And that's what the form is actually called, Printing Services, Marketing Services Request. By doing that, filling out that form, you will need to make sure that you have your department ID number because it's going to get billed to some department. In doing so, it'll ask you how many copies. The form goes through a good outline of what type of printing and copying you want done. They usually allow 48 to 72 hours turnaround. However, at the beginning of a semester, when all full-time, part-time faculty are trying to print syllabi, that might be a little bit delayed. So understand the timing and need of when you might need your syllabus. Again, if you have questions, don't be afraid to reach out and ask anybody in your area, as they can probably help you as well. That concludes the first video for Learning Plan 4. If you still have answers that you don't know and questions that you have, send them my way to clifford.goodacre@nwtc.edu or give me a call at 498-6979. Don't forget to complete the assessment following this video.